Shalom and welcome to another episode in our continuing series, Faith Journeys with God in the Land. Today we're at the traditional location for the Mount of Beatitudes. I'm standing here at the traditional site of the Mount of Beatitudes. The chapel that you see behind me was actually built in about 1938, designed by Antonio Barluzzi, an Italian architect who actually designed a number of these chapels. It's octagonal in size, reflecting the Beatitudes that are mentioned in Matthew 5. Now, we used to go outside this fence to sit on some rocks and see perhaps a natural amphitheater area where it seems logical that Jesus perhaps talked to many there, many in the crowd who were interested to hear about Jesus' perspective of the Malchut Shemaim, the kingdom of heaven. But that's no longer available to us, so we're here at this traditional site. In just a moment, I'll turn around and you'll see the beautiful lake. So this is indeed located here on this western shoreline of the Sea of Galilee. So Jesus taught the kingdom. In fact, this was his go-to message. And as I make my way down this way, we have to really appreciate that everywhere Jesus went, he taught about the kingdom, the Malchut Shemaim. The kingdom of God meant the reign and rule of God in someone's life. So if you were one who was a follower of God, you were to be representative of him by living out your life in attitude and actions with words that really exemplified righteousness, grace, love, peace, things like that. So when we get to Matthew 5, I think Jesus really pays attention to really the importance of living out one's life and one's kingdom principles. As we hear these words again, in fact, in this devotion, I simply want to read them, and perhaps you can now see some of the lake below me. And again, they're not an ideal place to film this, but indeed, it's a beautiful day here, and you can see the lakeshore behind me. But let me at least read these words as Jesus shared them. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, and they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. So these words we've heard perhaps a few times before, if not heard them preached and taught by many. These words are important words because only when we live out in our walk of faith or our faith journey with God, when we live out these kingdom principles, can we be what Jesus continues there in chapter 5 of Matthew, salt of the earth and the light of the world. We can only be salt and light in proportion to how we are allowing God's Spirit to fill us, inspire us to live out these kingdom principles. We can't walk a life of faith without the Spirit doing its work in us, filling us, so that we are inspired to live out these kingdom principles. So that's how it works in, I think, the life of faith, in our faith journey with Him. And here on this traditional Mount of Beatitudes, we consider these words of Jesus. Now, this mountain, by the way, could be the slopes of Arbel, there to the south. Or it could be any hill on this western shoreline. It doesn't really matter where it took place. It's the person who said it, Jesus. And just think of all those who were transformed by listening to these words about the kingdom. I find it also interesting that Matthew 5 records it happening on a hill, where Luke 6, for instance, his perspective, says it happened on the plain. It's essentially the same message. I think it really was Jesus' go-to message, this kingdom of God theme. That's how important it is for us to live out our faith and our faith journey with Him, to understand how vital the Spirit is to inspire us, to fill us, to motivate us to live out these kingdom principles of God. So live out the kingdom in your life today, and as one chapter later, in chapter 6, Jesus would continue and would say, "Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you." So seek the kingdom with me today in your actions and words, and may they reflect the righteousness of Christ. Be encouraged, and until next time, shalom.